In 2022, the Atlanta Braves put up a record of 101 and 61, winning the NL East off a tiebreaker. However, unfortunately, although they won the NL East, got a bye in the wild card round. They lost in the NLDS to their division rival, Philadelphia Phillies, who finished third in the division. Heading into 2023, the Braves have a lot of young talent. They have a veteran core, but can they get back to that World Series that they won in 2021? We'll see what happens. We're going to cover it right here on this Atlanta Braves team profile. My name is Derek. I'm here with Luke. You're watching Bleacher Brawls, and let's get straight into it. So as I said, 101 and 61 was the record for the Braves last year. Obviously, a good regular season, but a bit of a disappointment in the postseason, especially losing to a team that's in your own division and finished behind you by, I think, what was it, 14 games in your own division. So I'll hand it over to Luke. You look at this Braves team, a lot of talented players there. Who are three key players for this Braves team? And out of those three guys, which one do you think will have the biggest impact?
My team motto for the Braves this year is run it back. Do everything the same you did last year. They ran into a red hot Phillies team in the playoffs last year. Can happen to anybody. Kind of bad luck. The Phillies were just on fire right then, and the Braves starting pitching just wasn't what it was all year. Those things can happen sometimes. So my key players for them for this year, I got Max Fried, their ace. Great year last year, tripped up in the playoffs, but otherwise he was virtually flawless all season long. Needs to be a playoff stud though if they're going to win. If the Braves are going to win another World Series. Um, the big one I got is Michael Harris, the last year's rookie of the year. 853 OPS, 19 home runs, 64 RBIs, and he did all that in 114 games. He could make the jump to being a superstar this year, which will help make up for what the Braves lost in Dansby Swanson. And the other one I got is Ronald Acuna. He only played 119 games last year, and his production dropped a little bit. His OBP in 2021 was 394, and it dropped to a still staggering 351. So it's a hell of a thing to say that's a drop. But if he recovers some of that offense to what he was in 2021, then look out National League.
Yeah, 100%. This Braves team, so much talent. For me, I'm gonna kind of look at a couple guys. Sean Murphy, one of their big kind of off-season acquisition. Having a guy like him behind the plate, he'll be big for them. Another guy I love, Spencer Strider. I think he'll be big for them. He can continue to take steps and work and get a full starter's workload in 2023 because in 2022 he was very good. Start of the year in the bullpen though, and still pitched over 100 innings, but it wasn't that typical full starters workload that you would see over the course of a season. However, the biggest piece for me for this team, I want to go Austin Riley really bad, but I'm going to go Vaughn Grissom because they let Dansby Swanson walk and were somewhat comfortable doing it because they know they have Vaughn Grissom waiting in the wings already ready. He's already playing big leagues a little bit. Now, did he have a couple ups and downs last year when he was in the big leagues? Yes, but they have faith in him. And I feel like this could be a Jeremy Pena situation where they're not going to rely on him a lot early in the year, but they're going to work him in and let him develop and kind of, shouldn't maybe not develop, sorry, but let him kind of get into the flow of things early, or almost a little similar for Red Sox fans like myself and Luke, almost like Dustin Pedroia in '07. They kind of worked him into it slowly. He was on the opening day roster, but they didn't just throw him in there and throw him straight to the Wolves. And because they had Alex Core there who was helping out, I feel like you have a guy like Orlando Arcidiac who can help out a guy like Vaughn Grissom on that team. So you're not just throwing Grissom straight to the Wolves. I think that'll be big because he's going to be Grissom is expected to be the starting shortstop for this Braves team, and he's got the potential to be a very good shortstop. I just think they'll ease him in, not throw him straight to the Wolves. But by the time the playoffs come, he could be a very big piece for this Braves team.
My next door neighbor is a big Braves fan, and he saw his son run around in the backyard wearing a Dansby Swanson shirt. And I said, "Hey, I didn't know you guys were Cubs fans because it was a Braves Swanson shirt." And and his dad, my neighbor said, "Yeah, that was rough." But I mean, anyway, they love Braves fans. The Braves seem to love Vaughn Grissom, so I don't think there were many tears shed over Dansby Swanson leaving.
Yeah, they're very high on Von Grissom. But when you also you start looking at this offseason, Braves did make some moves. Obviously, they did lose Dansby Swanson, like we've mentioned. But they traded for Joe Jimenez to help out in the bullpen. Braves, they feel like their bullpen's pretty deep. But the big move really was trading for Sean Murphy, right? I would think that has to be the big move, unless you want to say their biggest move was moving on from Dansby Swanson.
Well, no, I mean, Sean Murphy's clearly their big move. He's that rare catcher that can give solid offense. 759 OPS last year, 332 OBP, 18 home runs, 66 for RBIs. You got that kind of middle of the, five hitter, six hitter production from your catcher. There's not many teams that have that. So between Sean Murphy and Travis Darnaud, is Darnaud?
Darno.
Darno. Is that not the best 1-2 catcher punch, offensive 1-2 catcher punch, like in the history of the sport?
I mean, the
Like,
Braves had a pretty good 1-2 punch last year with Darno and William Contreras.
right, right, and that was pretty good too. But I just it's just so funny to me that they got two catchers, yeah, for 2 years in a row, and so yeah, in the last 2 years they've had three really good offensive catchers that are solid contributors in the lineup. Like Red Sox fans think Christian Vasquez was a pretty good offensive presence in the lineup. Like he can't hold any of those three guys jock offensively speaking. But also I don't want to overlook them signing Lucas Lecky, a really dependable lefty specialist. I think the Yankees really screwed up letting him go. They only got one lefty now with it's Wandy Peralta, who's a good one, but I think that's strange. I can't stand when a team just is left with just has one lefty, like the Red Sox last year on opening day.
Well, John and I talked about this actually in a previous Yankees video, and I said the reason why is Ron Marinaccio is very good against lefties. But let's backtrack a little bit, stick on the Braves a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, he's a good dependable lefty specialist. So I think that's a solid move for them too.
Yeah, I think that Sean Murphy move 100% is their biggest move. I mean, 37 doubles last year, 18 homers, and you're getting that from your catcher spot. I think he also had 2 triples last year. You're getting that from your catcher spot. I know William Contreras was good offensively last year, made the All-Star team. I think did he make the All-Star team? I don't remember. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. I don't remember. I know he was in the conversation for it. Yeah, he was in the conversation for it. I remember he was in the conversation for the National League DH, but I think Harper got it over him because Harper was considered a DH because he got injured. But no, regardless, Contreras was very good offensively, but defensively, Murphy's, miles ahead of Contreras defensively, right? And I think that's what you're going to get. Still going to get very good offensive production, and you're going to get that really good defense behind the plate. And it also allows Travis d'Arnaud not to have to catch as much either. You can DH him more. So it also allows a little bit more balance between, where you don't have to have d'Arnaud catching all the time. And I think that is a good thing for them to have, especially too. You kind of get Sean Murphy, Matt Olson reunion too. That's a little kind of cool thing. Although probably not fun for A's fans, honestly, because just all their talents just gone everywhere else in the league. But yeah, I feel like this Braves team, that Sean Murphy move 100% is their biggest move. Looking at the 2023 season, expectations for this Braves team, is the expectation to win the division and make a deep run, or is it just get into the playoffs and make that deep run, regardless of where you end up in the division?
No, I definitely see them winning the National League East. I do see them losing in the NLDS. They shouldn't, but there's a few teams in the National League that are really good. They're good enough over 162, they'll win that division, but the top of that National League such a buzzsaw. I think they'll be favored. I think they'll be favored by most people to win the World Series, to make the World Series this year. But I do think one of those other teams will knock them off in the NLDS.
Yeah, I think the Braves, I think for them, it's push for the division. If you win it, that's great. Cherry on top of the year. But main things, make the postseason, get into the postseason, and make a run for that World Series because they won it in 21. They didn't make that deep run. They didn't play in the wild card round, so their first round that they played in the playoffs, they got beat. So if you're looking at the Braves teams, you're going to want to get deeper than just the division series. So that's kind of the aim. The aim is to win a World Series for this Braves team. That's the expectation at this point with how good they were last year and the additions they made heading into 2023. Yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. So make sure to check out all the links in the description of the Bleach Brawls website, podcast, Instagram, and Twitter, plus all the crew's Twitters. First link in the description will be a playlist with all the team profiles, so check that out. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified on every post. Atlanta Braves fans, let us know your thoughts on your team in the comments. That is your Atlanta Braves team profile right here on Bleach Balls. My name is Derek. I'm here with Luke. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.